Appearances, the first one will be the MorningStar Tower presentation. Y'all want to come on up? Just give your name and address.
My name is Rick Joyner. I live at 209 Gulf Vista Lane, Fort Mill, South Carolina, 29715.
Hey, Rick.
I am the founder and executive director of MorningStar of the ministry. Of course, we're here to tackle a sticky issue, and we, really appreciate you taking this time and also putting us first on the docket as we requested. But the main purpose we're here tonight is to come to an agreement that will allow us to go forward with that project. And we're going to be trying to present a perspective, our side of the story. There's some things that we've got to share tonight that we think many of you may not be aware of, and could be that none of you are aware of. But there are some serious issues. We're not trying to be offensive. We're not trying to be sensational or in any way manipulate or pressure. It's not our goal. We hate it when people do that to us, and we wouldn't want to do that to you. But we've got to share some hard things. We've got to talk about some issues and things that happen. But there are two basic things we need for an agreement tonight. The first is, on the physical agreement, what do we need to do to get this project moving forward? We went through two mediations. The first one, was really not anything was accomplished as far as bringing this together. We had a board resolution last year from our ministry board that is the governing body over our ministry to pursue litigation in this case. We didn't feel like it was going anywhere. I had a board resolution, and of course I have to submit to the board. I can't just make arbitrary decisions. We were within a couple of days of filing that litigation when we got a request for mediation again. I also had the leeway, though, to go the extra mile, do anything we could to resolve this without going to litigation, if there were some way. And we felt we needed to go the extra mile. We need to try mediation again. Honestly, didn't have much hope for anything to be accomplished, but we left there with a lot of hope. We were surprised. There seemed to be a whole different attitude about trying to work this out. But there's a couple of things that we need. Just working out some of the details of what we need to do now doesn't fix the problem for us. When the information was put out about us being in default of that agreement, the development agreement, which we believe was not accurate, not true, we, of course, that hurt our relationship with our lenders, some of our reservation holders. It basically sabotaged our project. We're almost at a start over situation here. Not entirely. I mean, we can get things up and going a lot faster. Well, a good number of our reservation holders for the units in the tower stayed with us. The lenders are still interested if we work things out. But as you can imagine, hearing something like that scares everybody off. All of our contractors left. And they were all convinced, like we are, that we were not in default of anything. But they said, this project can't work if you're going to be at war with the county staff or the county council. So tonight, we've got to somehow bridge this lack of trust, and we've got to have confidence going forward that something like this kind of information being put out wrongly about us will not happen again. We've got to have trust in one another. I think we've got an abundance of both history, of accomplishing our goals, our purposes, and projects like this. We've got what it takes to get this job done, but we can't do it if we're going to be at war. And we felt we either needed relief through litigation, through the court giving us relief, and making it clear to everybody, we were not in default and we are not in default going forward, or you have to give us that. But there has to be trust established also, so that we know that this kind of thing, we're not going to get all geared up, get going like we did, and get right ready, we think, to get this job done, to move forward with the construction, and then have it grind to a halt like it did because of something like this. Now, we, at the same time, we know this is a unique project. We've tried to be patient with the county staff. We know we're not the only game in town. They've had plenty of other jobs to work on. We want to be a good neighbor, good citizens. We are all citizens of York County, and this project is owned mostly by citizens of York County who are members of our church. This is owned by our church, not by me, not even by our board, but by our church. And they're the ones who we have a responsibility to, and to get this thing done. So we do want to move forward, but it's more than just getting the physical things agreed to. We've got to have some trust with each other. We've got to know that what happened to us this time isn't going to happen again. We're taking a lot of the heat for the delays in this project. I don't think we're responsible for a single day of delay. I think if that incident had not happened, we'd be very close to finishing this project right now. We've suffered substantial losses, and we're willing to go forward and make amends, but we've got to trust each other, and we've got to understand that in the county we have a partner, not an enemy. And that's what we're seeking here tonight. So I'm going to let Dave Yarns, who is the Vice President of the ministry, he is also the project manager for this, go ahead now with his presentation.
Councilman, if I
Yes, sir.
just go through a PowerPoint real quick. And
If you would give your name and address, okay?
yeah, my name is David Yarns, resident York County, 438 Fisher Road, Fort Mill, South Carolina. And what I hope to do is go through a PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to make it as quick and concise as possible. I'm going to go through a little bit of history. The information that we're going to present to you concerning our mediation agreement, I'm going to give to you in written form. Part of the reason is we have a bank statement or two in there, some things that are somewhat confidential. So I'll present that to you. This is the project as it sits. I believe this was last year, this picture taken. Still one of the largest hotels in the state, certainly the largest in York County. That's the tower behind it. That's not photoshopped or doctored. That's what the tower looks like, just so you can get an idea. I know a number of you have visited it, but the tower was built but never opened. I don't know, some of this you may know. I'm just going to go through it briefly. The tower began in 1985 in compliance with York County at the time. I was expected to open in July of 1987. All exterior conditions today remain largely as they have since construction. The brick it's missing from the tower was missing in 1987. There was a crane there. So it's just a perceived delay that we want to talk about. This has been in that condition since 1987. Neither York County nor its previous owners did anything to demolish or improve the tower for 25 years. That's what we came into when we bought it. The elements had come into the tower. Many of the rooms are finished inside. They actually have wallpaper and pictures and things like that on there. It's amazing. This is a 25-year never-opened tower. There's a lot of eccentricities about it. If anyone tells you that they're an expert in this type of development, it's simply not true. This is a very different project. This is a tower that never opened. It's very expensive. They had tens of millions of dollars into its production. In our timeline, we purchased the property in September of 2004. So the tower had been there for some 20 years. We mobilized restoration in 2005. And the tower was a small portion of the overall development plan. If you look through the development plan, there are a number of portions But the vast majority that we've already finished. Our retail space, there were conditions for us to do traffic studies, for us to get things in place. All of that's been accomplished. The development agreement was signed January 2008, so it was the first time in 23 years that there was a plan for restoration of the tower. The first time, and I want to stress that, in 2008. Currently, most of the major requirements of the development agreement have been completed. I feel we've issued the PD plan, we've issued the traffic study, we've finalized most of the finding out what was in the site. A lot of the stuff wasn't documented carefully. Lots of engineering, all kinds of things to see what was there currently. And Regent Park and the surrounding property experienced dramatic real estate appreciation due to heritage restoration. I'll show you what it looks like before on the left. That's previous to 2004. Those existing storefronts were completely dilapidated, abandoned. The building was uninhabitable. To the right, that's the building current. That's the same view. That's what the building looked like on the outside when we first bought it in 2004. That's what it looked like. That's what the grand entrance looked like. That was the grand entrance in 2004. Millions of dollars later, presently, this is the entrance now. I didn't put a lot of pictures in like that. You're welcome. I've got some discs for you. The development agreement was signed January 13th, 2008. This was the first release of ability to rebuild the towers. Now, we own the property since 2004, but until 2008, it was not proprietous for us to start too much work until we actually had that signed. At that point in time, we began to do all the engineering work. The county issued default letter, proposed default letter on March 5th of 2010, just 2 years into a 5-year agreement. We were not asking for an extension of the agreement. We didn't run out of our 5-year plan. We had not violated anything in our report. The default agreement came on March 5th. On March 5th, 2010, most of the major items of the development agreement were in place: the bunkhouses, the retail area, the retreat center, the traffic studies, the site plan. We had certificates of occupancy for all of the spaces. Most of the marketing was done. We had 190 reservations on the tower, verified with deposits. So 190 people, just prior to the county issuing default, had put down money and decided to live in that tower. We were 2 weeks away from opening our model when default was issued. We were working, this isn't behind the scenes, we had a permit in place. We were just getting ready for the first time for the public to view what a model home in the tower would look like. 2 weeks prior to it, the default came. Several verifiable letters for commitment for financing were in place at the time. I think one of them was BB&T. I'd be glad to share those with you. This was an engineering statement of probable cost and the salvage of the work in place, showing certified engineer valued the building in place as it stands at $11 million as it stands. Despite our protest, and you'll see a little bit of our protest, York County issued default on March 5th, 2010. We immediately contested the default. We asked for information. We said that we didn't believe that was true. We warned of financial damages. We said we've got, millions of dollars into this project. We'll show you the letters where we warned of damages. We requested an informal resolution. We withdrew our site plan. You'll see that. And despite the default notices, MorningStar still opened its model in hope of continuing development. We opened it just 2 weeks after this. Our initial response to the default letter, and I'll show you a copy of it, no notices were given to us by the county, and I'm sure no site plan pre-meeting took place. Numerous areas of the development agreement were ignored. And actions taken by MorningStar, again, the site plan was withdrawn. Notification that York County's actions could cause serious harm to MorningStar were numerous times. York County, I don't believe it ever acknowledged our official notices. They made the default notice public, and they effectively halted the project during April of 2010, again, just 2 years since the development agreement was signed. The development agreement calls for other things: written certified notices of correspondence, a 5-year term, which we were just 2 years into, an economic downturn clause, and the ability to resolve issues informally. The economic downturn language says this, and I just want to put this one section of the agreement that I think is very, very important for all of us to see. The parties acknowledge that market conditions may likely and will affect the pace and character of the development of the property. Therefore, parties agree that they shall take into account and shall direct mediators to take into account any change in market condition and demographics or similar matter when deliberating disputes or negotiating with future modifications to this agreement. And as we all know, in September 2008, the bankruptcy of Lehman Brothers and the collapse of the AIG, the world's largest insurance company, triggered a global financial recession which cost tens of trillions of dollars, rendered 30 million people unemployed. I don't know what could have triggered that more. In 2008, we signed the agreement. That event took place. It was never taken into consideration, in my opinion. After only one mediation session, York County issued us the following letter. York County believes that no useful purpose will be served by scheduling another mediation session. Again, this wasn't 2 or 3 or 5. This was one session. MorningStar Fellowship Church sent this letter out after that on June 30th. We can largely accomplish the items requested by York County through the mediation process. MorningStar commits to $1 million in funds to develop the exterior of the tower. MorningStar will provide the county with completed plans for the majority of the interior of the space. MorningStar will provide to the county a due date for completing the final design and the improvements on the facade. At this point, MorningStar would like to reschedule a meeting to specifically bring technical expertise from a state-certified architectural firm to discuss the particulars of the details that we need and the considerations for the exterior of the building. Also discuss any possible delays that could take place, and MorningStar looks to overcome them. This was an absolute appeal on our part to do any and everything to avoid litigation. I sent that letter. We would propose a meeting with York County with mediation for the purpose of reducing to writing our agreement, and also to have our architectural firm present to identify possible constraints. There are things that are simply were planned for the exterior that an architectural firm needed to be involved in. This isn't just something that we can, say on our own. But that was our, and again, I've got copies for you of this letter. York County's response to MorningStar after this letter, no response. No professional acknowledgement of the letter. MorningStar abandoned all hope of mediation after that. In July of 2010, we changed attorneys, we hired a litigation team, and began the process of suit for damages. Again, there's no record in our hands of any mail, of any return, of anything coming on that letter. On October, 4 months later, we received a telephone call requesting further mediation, which we'd be glad to talk about tonight. Tonight, we're going to provide a scope of work. This is the result of the recent mediation process that Mr. Bowman, I believe, was available at that meeting. But this is the agreement that we signed between Mr. Baker, Mr. Joyner. We were present. And it says that we will include a plan for the removing of the existing fence, the parking in the parking lot, the restoration of the landscaping, lighting. MorningStar will also demonstrate its financial ability to perform the work described in this paragraph. We'll provide York County, with the following deliverables. A date for substantial completion of the plans and specifications, including the engineering drawings, the construction schedule. We'll provide a date for the receipt of a loan commitment, a bond, and a letter of credit, and a date by which construction of the tower will begin and end. York County will have the right to approve or disapprove the items provided pursuant to paragraphs 1 or 2. That's exactly why we're here tonight. And such disapproval shall not be unreasonably given. Upon approval of these items by York County, the notice of default will be withdrawn. The previous submitted site plan will be revised and resubmitted. And the resubmission of site plan shall not trigger a date for submission of bonds. Otherwise, the development agreement shall be modified consistent with this agreement, including appropriate adjustment of dates. The revised development agreement shall contain mutual release from all acts of omission through the date of execution. So that is what we signed on January 30th, and that's what we're here to present today. What I'd like to do, because some of the information includes bank statements that are proprietors, I'll have one of our folks pass these out. As we're getting ready to view this, I thought I'd let you know the growth at MorningStar. Presently, we have 800 ministries around the world that claim us as their home fellowship. 280 conferences have been held in York County since 2005. Tens of thousands of parishioners and visitors have impacted the county. Our TV and video, we have a worldwide presence. 16 million potential viewers watch our daily show. We have over $54 million in total assets. Our campus contains over 500,000 square feet. We have 500 rooms in our Grand Hotel. We have about 150 York County employees that are on the payroll. We have 2 schools, a K through 12 and a university, and we have students from all around the world. Our K through 12 school was praised by the Lieutenant Governor as one of the greatest schools in 4 states. So we're really proud of that. Currently, we desire to begin the development of Heritage Towers, to resume, to bring the needed revenue into York County. Current and future effect of our development, we believe that the tower will produce between 88 and 110 New York County jobs. Currently, our employees are at about 115. I'm sorry I misspoke on that. We have a lot of contractors. These are our full-time. We bring in about 20,000 visitors a year. And as I present this proposal, it is confidential in that it does produce bank statements. I apologize for the rest of us sitting here, but you'll have to let me read it orally. If you can turn, I'll just go quickly through the first couple of pages. These first pages, the resolutions and the replies that I had talked about specifically, you'll find about 3 pages in. There's one called Notice of Dispute. It's an official document that we sent over just about 2 years ago. But all those claims that I made there, I believe, were there. Again, these are all sent certified mail. And if you would join me in a page that looks like this, is the agreement that we talked about that we signed on January 30th. You'll see it's detailed there. This doesn't have the signature blocks, but it is signed by both parties. The next page goes into our discussion for tonight. For the exterior, maybe it'll be a little bit easier if I show you the picture. We'll procure and install railings on the balconies of the north side. This is the south side, but I see all those railings there, and on the north side there's some that are missing. So we'll procure and reinstall those. We'll reinstall and secure the railings on the 11th floor. We'll reinstall barriers at the 4 corners of the building on multiple floors. Again, you can't see it from this picture, but if there are areas missing in these sides, we'll reinstall those areas. Reinstall the storefront window on the 11th floor. We'll remove the wood frames from the balconies on the 21st floor. Some of this 21st floor was still left in wood frames, and some of it's got debris and it's coming out. The tower's 21 stories tall, so that's the area that that's speaking about. We'll remove any antennas, debris, wiring, frame, vegetation from the roof. You can't quite see it in this picture, but if you get further away from the tower, you can see, I think right there, this isn't a high-def picture, but you'll see there are some antenna and some debris that's noticeable on the roof. We'll repaint the walls and the exposed wood at the base of the tower. You can't see it, it's hidden behind this, but the entry doors to the tower we'll replace them. We'll resecure all the doors on the first floor, replace the doors, the locks, the hinges where necessary. Any non-essential fencing will be removed. The perimeter and security fence must remain in place, though. We have an 8-foot high fence around it that has barbed wire at the top, but it's just to keep people out, so we'll make sure that that's tightened up and secured, but that has to stay in place. Masonry, any missing brick from the northwest corner of the tower will be done with a custom masonry finish. What it's done is designed to match the brick. The bricks cannot be matched to the existing brick or reinstalled until the entire surface of the tower is completed. We had 2 engineers look at it. The bricks cannot be put in place until the rest of the tower is in place. But the custom masonry finish will match exactly. It will be very, very difficult. And you guys are familiar with what custom masonry brick finishes look like. I'm sure I can show you. We'll amend the staggered brick line on the north face with custom masonry. And again, the bricks can't be attached until the entire surface is completed at a later date. Landscaping will take the parking lot, we'll remove all the grass and debris, we'll remove all the dead wood from the trees, we'll remove trees, brush, shrubs, around specifically the electrical substation that's on that side. We'll remove the trees and brush from inside the perimeter fence. We'll repaint the curbs in the front of the tower with safety paint. We're also, and I think Mr. Bowman brought this up, he put some new lighting in place, 2 100,000 watt floods under the canopy side, 2 400 watt floods in the front. We'll run additional circuits to handle the additional wattage. We'll repair the existing lighting under the canopy and install 6 new 250 wall packs on the sides of the building. In addition, we have other lighting that's in place on the campus. The parking lot's lit from that side as well. The timetable for work, we'll begin the work within 30 days. We will need a permit, I believe, depending on 30 days or so. We've got a few materials that we have to buy, and we're just waiting on the weather, but the weather looks to be great, so we can get started within 30 days. The next page continues this. A date for substantial completion, including for the plan specifications, the engineering drawings. We believe we can get them done in 9 to 15 months. That represents approximately $1 million worth of plans, engineering and architectural plans. So the majority of them we have in place, so we feel 9 to 15 months. The date or the receipt of the loan commitment, the bond, the letter of credit, depending on how detailed this has to be, if it's a letter of commitment or if it's the actual bond, on or before December 2014. The date by which the tower construction and renovation will begin and end. The construction will begin on or before August 2015, and we believe that we'll be able to start before that and finalize on February 2017. The next one is a demonstration of our work in place. This is a bank statement we just got off. This account is for the renovation of the tower. You'll see there's some $700,000 in place for the renovation to begin. I'm not saying it's going to take all of that, but we've set that aside. This is not our operating account. And then the next page, the resubmission of the site plan. You notice in our letter we said we would resubmit the site plan within 2 weeks. The issue becomes that we have to work with tandem in the county. We are proposing moving utilities, and this is a substantial change. So we have to work with the county's team, especially as it relates to municipal sewer usage. And we have not had that ability to coordinate. So in talking with our engineering staff and our construction folks, we simply have to get some meetings together with the county to see where the sewers, a lot of sewers. This is the section of the development agreement on page 7, BIIA. It calls for us to submit plans and then to have a meeting prior to the site plan approval to sign the non-reimbursable extension agreement. So we have to put that in place. We believe that the MorningStar site plan should follow closely the language in the development agreement. Therefore, it's difficult for us to give a time frame of the resubmission of the site plan. We feel we can do it promptly, but it's largely dependent on working with the county, and we just have to have some meetings. So I know that sounds somewhat vague, but that's the best we could do on the site plan. We just have to sit down. There are stormwater issues there. I shouldn't say issues. There are stormwater concerns. There are large utility concerns or large sewage concerns. We had to hire a significant engineering team. The plans were just, the plans and specifications in the engineering documents furnished to us by PTL were not adequate. We had to go in and re-inspect everything. We literally just had to go and open up every manhole on the property and see if what size all the manholes were. You can imagine this is, just that piece is some 20 acres right there. So we had to go through the whole thing. But that's what we've prepared tonight. Gentlemen, Rick, I don't know if you have a follow-up there.
Thank you. Well, as you saw in some of the wording of the agreement, we were, supposed to be able to get together and work some things out as this unfolded. And of course, when the 2008 crash hit, it changed the game. It changed the rules of the game, and it did set us back some. Everybody, we had, I can't remember, 11 or 13 lenders falling over themselves to give us money before the crash, and the standards were very low. Have 25% deposits and we're good. And of course, when the crash happened, everything went up to you got to have 75% deposits on 75% of the units and everything. I mean, it got tight. And we had to reset, we had to change a lot of things, go back, even do some redesign of the units, make them smaller, more affordable. We did an awful lot of work. We got where we thought we were very close to, we can go forward now. And we hadn't heard anything about our site plan being approved. And just when we were about to say, look, it's been a year, come on. It came out, we were in default. And it basically, we lost all of our work. It was start over. It just, the lender said, hey, we can't touch this until you work things out. We convinced them we were not in default. It didn't help. They didn't trust our relationship with the county. They said something's really wrong. The same happened with our contractors. So we are asking for a reset, start over. We think we can get things done much faster, but we don't know. We basically had to stop the whole process. We'd lay off people. All the momentum and the investment that we had made, we could not go forward after that 2008 thing. We don't have an option not to finish this tower. To us, that is not an option. This is not ours. It's not mine. It belongs to our church and tens of thousands of supporters who are from all over the world. It belongs to the whole ministry. We have a mandate, and we must finish this. We must do it, and we can. We don't think it's even a hard thing to do. We've learned a lot, and we've done some things even while we were waiting and knowing that someday we're going to be able to get going again. We were able to do some things that we think could help speed up the process. But like I said, the main thing is not just these details of cleaning up the outside. We've got to have some trust going forward that this is never going to happen again. And we think we were done wrong. It didn't happen on your watch. A lot of you guys weren't even here. You may not have known about it even until tonight, but we think some very serious wrongs were done to us. And all we're asking is make it right and give us some trust going forward. Some serious trust, but it's going to take a little more trust for our bankers to say, okay, that relationship's good. The county's going to be your partner and not an adversary in this relationship. It's going to take that for them to come back on board. That's why I said we could be satisfied with a whole lot less than we probably are going to need for those that we need to finish this project. And that's why we're here tonight. Can we get there? We're open to take any questions, myself or Dave.
I appreciate it, Rick. Now, is John Petzel with y'all, or he's the next? Where are you?
I'm here.
Oh, okay. Well, John, I'm going to let you come on up and speak next. And John, remember name and address.
John Petzel, 7123 Meyer Road, Fort Mill. Chairman Blackwell, County Council members, last year on January 18, I shared with the council my unique perspective as a neighbor of the Heritage Tower in Fort Mill. I see the tower daily since my house is within a half mile of the structure. This, by the way, is an area where contractors are building over 100 new homes, many with sold signs on them. Tonight, I bring you encouragement. I stand here tonight representing those who have signed a petition to the council. There are more than 900 signatures on these pages. This petition states, we all desire to have the MorningStar Heritage Tower completed and functioning. We prefer completion to demolition and support the council's efforts to see this outstanding site finally completed. We petition and encourage the council to use whatever means in your power to advance the completion of this building. You have each signer's backing in your upcoming decision to support MorningStar's actions to complete this outstanding structure. With your permission, I'd like to read each signer's name now. No, I wouldn't. Rather, Mr. Chairman, pass them to you.
I think that would work.
Thank you for your attention.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
His heart's not that good.
Thank you, John, for both aspects. Is Eric here?
Yeah, right.
Come up front, Eric. Remember name and address again.
Eric Kinsinger, 4071 Sherry Lane in Fort Mill. I know I haven't been the best neighbor to you guys either, but I do need to look out for everybody around us. So I apologize for any trouble I caused you guys. I also apologize for any trouble I caused you guys. Wanted to go over a couple things that MorningStar brought up tonight. They're saying that they want to renegotiate basically the development agreement for another 5 more years, out to 2017. They've owned this building for 8 years now, at this point almost. And September 24th this year, it'll be 8 years. And the only thing that's really been renovated is the interior of the main building. They did upgrade the exterior of the lower building, which was nice and everything, but didn't touch the castle in any part of this proposal that they said. As you well know, we provided a petition 2 weeks ago for that castle for a dilapidated building. They're saying that they want to be a good neighbor. A good neighbor would actually have a fence that would keep kids out, keep trespassers from going up and down these towers. I mean, there's plenty of YouTube videos on this tower you can watch. You can just YouTube, type in MorningStar Tower. I can guarantee you can find at least 50 to 100 videos of kids climbing it. It's not really a good neighbor at that point. They did say they had 190 reservations in 2010. According to what they said last Thursday, when they threatened the lawsuit, that they lost half of those reservations. Sorry that that happened, but with a project that's gone on this long, I would have taken my money back also. I mean, if I gave money up in 2008 and said, okay, I'm waiting, let's do this. They're saying that they bring 20,000 visitors a year. Probably. I mean, I don't personally see it being in the area, but 20,000 visitors a year down Starlight Drive in its current condition is a pretty sad statement for a church that wants to say, welcome, enjoy our potholes on our private drive. Doesn't seem to make any sense. The custom masonry system that they're saying that they're going to install, is that because the pile of bricks at the bottom of the tower have been broken and damaged? That's why they can't mix it and match it. They're also saying that they had some trust issues with the county. They have trust issues with the citizens of this county, not just you guys and them. There's lots of citizens that are very concerned. More of the safety and issues that I brought up previously. They're going to reinstall all the barriers. Now, if we reinstall the barriers, is that assuming that they have the barriers and they just haven't bothered to put them in the last 4 years? Because a couple of light bolts and things were just too expensive? The picture that they have here is from the nice side of the tower. I agree. It does look pretty nice on this side. If anybody sees it from the other side, it looks terrible. Bricks have been falling off. They have not been falling off since not all fallen off in 1987. We have before and after pictures. I mean, I didn't bring any, but we do have before and after pictures posted in our group over the past year, and there's substantial difference in how many bricks have fallen off. Once again, this goes back to the fence and the kids getting hurt. They keep saying that they want to start over and build trust again. How are they going to build trust at this point? Because it's gone on for so long. I mean, when they purchased this building to now, it's been 2,715 days. Not to use a bad analogy, but John F. Kennedy said once, we'll send a man to the moon by the end of the decade. From the time he said that to the time it actually happened was 2,978 days. That's Black Friday this year. Do you guys think anything's really going to happen by then? I mean, this building is still going to look. It's going to look nice on this side where they're building all the homes. There's a factory on the other side, so that factory really doesn't care. Starlight Drive is still falling to pieces. There's schools down that street. People drive up and down that street all the time. I don't see how this is a money issue. With everything that's happened since 2008, when, yes, banks did have trouble, but there's been so much other building going on in the area since 2008. I mean, new buildings have been built in Charlotte, new buildings have been built in York County. They found the money. They didn't have a trust issue. MorningStar needs to step up and prove to the citizens and you guys that they're really willing to do something this time. And not say, well, we want more time, we want another extension. I'm at the point that we can't see how it's cost effective to renovate that tower instead of starting over. But that's up for you guys to decide. Thanks.
Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.